What's up, SNEaKyNation? SnEaKyP here with all of my picks for week number 8 in the NFL. But first, as always, let's go ahead and check out how I did in week 7. I did pick the Chiefs over the Broncos on Thursday night. I'm coming around on these Thursday night games. I started off doing really poorly on them. But since then, I think I've gotten a few in a row correct. So 1-0 on the week. I did have the Bills over the Dolphins, 2-0 on the week. I had the Jags over the Bengals, 3-0 on the week. Here we go. I had the Vikings over the Lions, 4-0. Had the Packers over the Raiders, 5-0. I am rebounding well. I had the Rams over the Falcons, 6-0. I did have the Texans taking down the Colts. That did not happen, 6-1. 49ers over the Redskins, 7-1. Cardinals over the Giants, 8-1. Let's go. I had the Chargers over the Titans. That did not happen, 8-2. Had the Bears over the Saints. That did not happen, 8-3. I did have the Seahawks winning this. That didn't happen either, 8-4, man. I started off good. It has gone downhill since. I did get the Cowboys game right, 9-4. And I got the Patriots game right. 10-4 on the week, though. One of the best weeks I have had this season. Which pretty much all of last year I was doing really well. This year I haven't done quite as good, but I will absolutely take 10-4 this week. So let's go ahead and move on to National Tight Ends Day tomorrow here in week 8. I did tweet out my prediction for the Vikings game. I picked the Vikings in that. So starting off the week strong. But let's go ahead and jump into the other matchups here. Seahawks taking on the Falcons. Matt Ryan might not even play, but even if he did play, I'm going to go Seahawks here. They're just a better team. The Falcons, I don't think the Falcons are as bad as they look. But like I said the other week, clearly they are as bad as they look. I mean, their record's absolutely terrible. It's not going well for them. So I guess, I don't know. I'm going to go with the Seahawks here, but the Falcons need to get their defense together. Buccaneers and Titans. This is an interesting game because, Fitzmagic is starting, isn't he? And you just don't know. Not Fitzmagic, I'm sorry. Ryan Tannehill. I believe is supposed to be the starter this week. I don't know where to go on this one, man. I don't know. This kind of could go either way. On one hand, yeah, I want to go Bucks in this one, man. I feel like the Titans are the better team, but I'm going to go Bucks. I'm feeling Bucks here. We'll see what happens. Cardinals and the Saints, taking the Saints at home. Doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. I'm going to go with them there. Bengals and the Rams, taking the Rams at home. Jets and the Jags, going to go with the Jags at home. Eagles and the Bills. This is an interesting game. I could really see this one going either way. I don't think the Bills are as good as their record looks. They just, haven't played many good teams, really, other than the Patriots. But they did hang with the Patriots very well. The weakness for the Eagles' defense is the secondary. I don't know if I trust Josh Allen to really take advantage of that. But the Bills' defense is so good. And they're going to be at home in this game. I'm going to go Eagles in an upset, though. I am. I want to see the Bills win. I personally would rather the Bills win. But I've got to take some upsets here and there, and I'm going to go with the Eagles in this one. We'll see what happens. Chargers and the Bears. Going to go with the Bears. The Bears have burned me a lot this season. I've picked them in a lot of games, and it's just not happening. But the Chargers really aren't looking very good right now. So I'm going to go Bears here. Giants and the Lions, taking the Lions at home. Raiders and the Texans. This is a game that I can kind of see going either way, too. I feel like the Texans are a better team, but they seem to be very inconsistent. When things are going really well for them, they look like one of the best teams in the NFL, and then they turn around and lose a game that, I feel like they shouldn't. So you just don't know. Like, if this is one of those games where the Texans show up, they're going to blow them out of the water, I think. But if it's one of the games where they don't, I think the Raiders could win. Ultimately, though, the Texans are at home. I'm going to go with the Texans here. Panthers and the 49ers. I'm going to come back to this one. As usual, I talk a little bit more about the 49er game, so we'll come back to this. Browns and Pats. Going to go with the Pats here. Broncos and Colts, going to go with the Colts. Packers and Chiefs, going to go with the Packers on the road. No Patty Mahomes for the Chiefs. Going to go with the Packers here. And Dolphins and the Steelers, going to go with the Steelers in this. So back up to the Panthers and 49ers game. This is one of those games where, like, I feel like both teams are due for a loss. The 49ers are due for a loss. The Panthers are due for a loss. I don't think Kyle Allen's that great of a quarterback. But he's doing enough to help them win, riding the back of Christian McCaffrey, who's playing amazing. Panthers have a very good defense. You know, the 49ers are getting a lot of love for their defense, but the Panthers have a really good defense as well. And ultimately, what this game comes down to for me is Christian McCaffrey. And for that reason, I am going to pick the Panthers in an upset here, because the 49ers have too many injuries, and I just don't think they can overcome it. You know, they may do their first game without Joe Staley and looked pretty good, but when they lost Mike McGlinchey and Kyle Juszczyk as well, they lost their running game. The 49ers are a team that likes to run the ball, and without those three players, they're not running the ball effectively at all. Now, last week was a little bit different with the rain conditions obviously being a big factor in Washington. The field was messy, so you really couldn't throw the ball effectively in that game, and so it was easy for teams to play against the run. But, you know, we saw the same thing against the Rams. The 49ers were struggling to run the ball, and a big part of that is Kyle Juszczyk. The blocks that he makes just really gets our entire run offense going, and without him, the 49ers are struggling. Throw in missing Joe Staley and Mike McGlinchey as well. And the 49ers offense can't run the ball. And if they can't run the ball, they're going to have to throw the ball. But unfortunately, other than George Kittle, they don't have anybody to throw the ball to. They might now that they made the Emmanuel Sanders trade. But, you know, it's his first week here. He's not going to know the offense ins and outs. Like, they could easily tell him a route to run, and he can run that route. But, you know, that chemistry with Jimmy Garoppolo is likely not there just yet. So I don't know that I expect him to really have a major impact this week necessarily. And then outside of him, you know, you got George Kittle. That's great. George Kittle's amazing. But you can't throw it to Dante Pettis, who drops more balls than he catches. He did have a good game a few weeks ago, though. You really can't throw it to Deebo Samuel. You know, he has a lot of drops this year. You can't throw it to Marquise Goodwin. He has a lot of drops this year. Like, none of these receivers have looked like NFL receivers at all to this point. Now, I think Marquise Goodwin's probably just a one-hit wonder. He had that great year. Since then, he's just kind of gone back down to being invisible. I know he's had a lot of personal stuff going on in his life, things that I wouldn't wish on anybody. So, you know, hopefully everything's okay with him, man. But mentally, he just doesn't appear to be there. And how could he with all the stuff he's been dealing with, right? Dante Pettis is just terrible. He's been terrible. He's always, I don't know. Like, he just drops so many passes, dude. And he'll make some nice catches here and there, but, like, he's not a receiver you can rely on. You can't throw it to him and be like, he'll catch it. He'll make that play. Because oftentimes he doesn't. You know, he will every once in a while, but that's not good enough in this league, I don't think. Deebo Samuel, I do still have a lot of faith in. He's just young. I think he'll get better. But right now, he's just had an issue with drops, too. So many people have been blaming Jimmy Garoppolo all season. And from watching the games, you know, he has George Kittle to throw it to and nobody else. They just dropped so many passes. So hopefully Emmanuel Sanders can help with that. I don't love the trade. I feel like we gave up too much, in my opinion, for a 32-year-old receiver who we might lose at the end of the year anyway. Like, you know, trading a third-round pick for a half-season rental isn't something I love, personally. But, I mean, if we re-sign him, you know, maybe that's a little bit different. But it's going to be an interesting game, man. I think what this is really going to come down to is, again, I don't know who you can rely on the 49ers other than George Kittle, and he's not going to be touching the ball near as many times as Christian McCaffrey is going to be touching it for the Panthers. But ultimately, I think what this game is, which quarterback makes the fewest mistakes, right? Whichever quarterback, like Kyle Allen, he's fumbled a few times, but he hasn't thrown an interception yet. if the 49ers can get an interception or two on him, that might turn the game around. Same thing with the Panthers. If they can pick off Jimmy Garoppolo, I really think this game is going to come down to which quarterback screws up the least. But in the case that neither of them screw up a whole lot, the Panthers have Christian McCaffrey, who's going to be touching the ball a ton. And for that reason, I'm going to give them the edge here. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I appreciate you guys watching these videos. Let me know how you guys did last week, and let me know your picks for this upcoming week. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Peace.